Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann, and I show men and women how they can live healthy, happy, sustainable lives. And I'm really excited because today I'm joined by Phoenix Gibbs. Hi, Phoenix.
Hola, how are you, Julie? Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to see you. So, for those of you that don't yet know Phoenix, she is an author and a speaker. We're going to find out all about that. But I know, Phoenix, that you actually help people who are struggling with anxiety and also hypochondria. So I'm just really curious, were your parents really anxious when you were growing up? Where did it all start?
I think for me, it started because as a child, I was sexually abused from 7 to 14 off and on. And I think that trauma actually created the hypochondria and anxiety within myself. And my mom and my dad, they also experienced trauma in their lives. My mom speaks about it. My dad chooses not to. You know, men, they don't like talking. So I kind of like created it, manifested it because of just the abuse that I went through and how I thought of myself. Because once you go through a traumatic experience as being sexually abused as a child, it changes something in you. And
Yeah.
so that's what happened to me, and that's why I dealt with it and struggled with it my entire life.
So how did the anxiety and that hypochondria play itself out on a typical day for you?
Uh, I would just be doing anything, watching TV. If I see something, it'll trigger me, and I would have a panic attack or have anxiety. I lived in New York City for a while, and so I would ride the trains, and just too many people around me or touching me or around me, I would have anxiety, and then I would have to get off the train and wait for like 8 cars to pass by in order for me to get on the train, where there's like little to no people. And over time, because my drug of choice was sex, I was very promiscuous. Every time I did have sex, I felt like, oh my God, I have an STD, or I have AIDS, or something's wrong with me. And I would be running to the doctor because the hypochondriac brain does that. It makes you feel as if though you have a debilitating illness that you're going to die from. And majority of people who have hypochondria or struggle with hypochondria, they're the most healthiest people. There's like nothing wrong with them at all. But in their minds, because of whatever trauma they've experienced in their lives, they feel like everything's wrong with them. They feel like they're going to die. They feel like there's an impending doom. So the anxiety builds up so much because your mind is telling you something's wrong with you, you're sick, and it causes a panic.
So when you were going through the abuse, and
Mm.
that was clearly a very long time that was happening to you, did you tell
Yes.
anyone?
I didn't tell anyone until I was about 17. The reason being is because I had my two siblings and my mom, and she was going through a lot of different things at that time. And I just felt like, let me just be quiet and not say anything until I was able to like speak about it. So I didn't say anything until like I was about 17 or 18. And plus I was afraid of being judged. And part of my family judged me. The other half was just like, I'm sorry that that happened to you. So that's why it took me so long. And a lot of people, when they go through abuse, especially sexual trauma, they don't speak about it until later on in life because of the same reason. Either they feel like their parents or, whoever they're with, their protectors are not going to believe them, or there's a fear of judgment.
What was the reaction when you did come out and speak about it?
Um, my mom says she kind of figured something was going on with me because she said you would be lost in space majority of the time, or uh, you were never present, coherent, whatever. My father, on the other hand, he didn't know how to process it. So we actually finally had our conversation about it last year. Finally had the
Wow.
conversation about it. So he didn't know how to process it. My grandparents, they didn't know how to process it either because my family's from the West Indies, and I don't know how it is with other families, but it's just like you don't talk about that stuff. You sweep it under the rug. It never happened. You just move on with your life. And so after I found my voice and I was able to speak that truth, then nobody could shut me up. I was just talking, talking, talking. And so it was just a divide within. I can't believe that that person would do that to you. He's such a great person, this, that, next, and the other. And then the other side was like, yeah, I could kind of see that happening to you. So it was just like a divide within who said what and how they felt about the situation, how they felt about him, how they felt about me. And 9 times out of 10, when a child that's like 3 or 4 years old or 6 or 7 years old comes out and says, hey, someone's touching me or doing something to me, 9 times out of 10, there's no belief in that, because it's like that child is making it up. So when I got older, then I was able to talk about it. Then people would listen, because it's like, okay, no, you have to listen to me now.
Was that because the abuser was very clever, Phoenix, and was charming and...
Yeah, that played a part too, I think. It definitely played a part too. And you know, I recently learned to, when after I said about the abuse, that this person was also abused. So what I realized in doing research is two things that happens to you when you're abused like that. Either you become the person that's an advocate, or you become the abuser yourself. So when people don't get help and assistance and they're not heard and seen or feel like they're protected, there's two different things that goes on. They want to save everyone, save the world, and, you know, have on that superwoman, Superman cape, or they turn to drugs and alcohol and they start being abusive.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you were very promiscuous. Do you think there's a relationship between what happened to you and the fact that you chose to be promiscuous?
Absolutely, because I didn't love myself enough, and I thought that was a form of love. So for a long time, I was numb in my heart and I was numb in my spirit. So the analogy that I always give when I talk about this is, I saw myself as a filet mignon, nicely seasoned and cooked right. And I just put my body and my soul on top of a garbage can top. And I gave it to whomever and said, here, do what you want with me. That's what that felt. That's what that was like.
Wow. You talked about seeking help. Did you seek help? How did you actually, you know, come through all of that terrible experience?
I went to therapy. I spoke to my therapist, and lots of internal work. So I had to be honest with myself about my promiscuity. I had to write the little girl in me a letter to ask her to forgive me. I had to ask my body and my mind and my heart and my spirit to forgive me. I had to do a lot of different internal work. Even up until last year, I was still doing internal work, because I worked with spirit and my spirit guides, and they actually showed me all of the things that I was doing to myself, and it made me sick to my stomach. So I had to really sit with myself and allow myself permission to feel all of the things that have been bottled up inside, that I was holding on to, I was still holding on to, because I felt at that point I was doing surface healing and not really digging deep into myself. And once I was able to do that, then I was able to transform and evolve into waking up to myself and like literally really falling in love with me, everything there is about me to love.
Wow, yes. So did you have, before that point, before you fell in love with yourself, did you have some kind of limiting beliefs around men in general because of that experience?
Yeah, like I feel like sometimes I didn't deserve blessings and opportunities, and I had to learn how to receive things from people. When people would gift me things or give me things, it was hard for me to receive because I'm such a giver. Because when you go through trauma like that, like I said, either you become bitter or you become that person that's always helping everyone, and you're giving, give, because there's a point where part of you is like, well, I need approval and validation from everyone else, and you keep forgetting that your validation and approval is so much more important than having another person's. So when I learned that, then I was like, well, damn, okay, I got this. This is good. So
yeah, so important. So if there's someone watching who may not have been through the kind of experience that you've been through, but they do experience anxiety on a daily basis, and they also think they might be a hypochondriac, have you got any advice for anyone like that?
Yeah. First, I would definitely go to your physician and get yourself checked out, fully checked out, because just to be on the safe side, because you never know. And once you have a clean bill of health, every time you go into panic mode or you start thinking negative things, have your physician print out a copy of your documentation showing you that you have a clean bill of health. Post that somewhere, like on a mirror, your refrigerator, whatever. So you're looking at every single day. And its implementation is telling yourself every single day, I'm impeccable health and in gratitude. I'm grateful for my impeccable health. I'm grateful for, the fact that I have shelter, I have food, I have a place to lay my head. And so when the anxiety pops up or you have some symptoms, like sometimes people with hypochondria would have a headache, immediately they go to brain tumors and stuff like that. If they have a stomach ache, it's something. And the other thing I would say is stop Googling your symptoms. Stop it. I was the Google queen, and I used to work at WebMD. So WebMD would pop up and I'd be like, okay, let me see what I have today. And I would have just went to the doctor and there's nothing wrong with me. And it's believing and trusting in yourself that you're fine, that there's nothing wrong with you. But that's something that you have to do every single day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. It becomes a lifestyle because healing is a lifestyle. Loving yourself is a lifestyle. It's just not something that happens overnight. Forgiveness is a lifestyle. So healing and forgiving yourself and having faith within yourself, that's the things that you practice or make a commitment, make an honorable commitment to yourself to do that for yourself every single day. So when anxiety pops up or hypochondria pops up, you have tools in your arsenal to tell yourself, okay, my doctor's report says I'm fine. So I know that I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. These are just things that just popping up out of the ordinary. We do get headaches. We do get allergies. We do get colds and sniffles. And last year, I prayed so much for everyone who had anxiety and hypochondria because I know COVID like really set people who had hypochondria to another level. I felt it because myself, I was like, okay, you're practicing, you're doing what you need to do. And I was just sending out love and light and prayers to everyone that's experiencing that because it took you to another level. Because if you sneeze, you're like, oh my God, do I have COVID? So it was that kind of stuff. So yeah, just definitely do your due diligence to make a commitment to yourself, to love yourself each day and tell yourself there's nothing wrong with me. I'm healthy, I'm whole. I'm healthy, I'm whole. Because the power of affirmations and the power of how you speak to yourself and what you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself either is effective in your life and it can help you or it could break you. But it's up to you at the end of the day how you heal yourself and do that spiritual work within yourself to help yourself heal.
Brilliant. I want to come back to the affirmations, but that is such good advice right there. And I think actually loving ourselves is one of the most challenging things we can do, and one of the most important things. So to start with, us saying that we love ourselves may just not seem, it doesn't fit, because we're not in that, we're not in that place yet. But it is about practicing it daily, isn't it? So you've got the most amazing name. And I also know that that wasn't your birth name. So
no.
Why did you change your name? And when did you change it?
I changed my name last year in June, actually. I actually connect with different spirit guides, and one of my spirit guides is Egyptian goddess Isis, who is my spiritual mama. And I do healing bracelets for clients. I'm wearing them now. And I was making a couple bracelets on my couch, and in my ear, I heard, "Emerge from the ashes like the phoenix that you are, my beloved child." And I was like, what? And she said it twice. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started Googling phoenix and what it means. And it's definitely rising from the ashes time and time again. This beautiful bird, this being that's right up there. And so that really emulates and represents who I am. Like, I've risen from the ashes several times in my life, and it was just fitting and it felt good. So I just started using the name.
I love that. Were there people around you that were thinking, what do you mean Phoenix? Why have you done? Yes. So how did you deal with that? Because people get used to a particular name, don't they? Yeah. They associate you with a name, and then they find it really difficult to change anything.
Well, my government name or my physical name is Dillis, and people are so used to calling me Dillis, and it's a unique name and blah blah blah, which it's nothing about that name. But I told them, like, I'm Dillis, but I'm also Phoenix. But Phoenix is what represents me right now in my evolution and my growth process, mentally, emotionally, and exceptionally spiritually. And so you can call me Dillis, that's fine. But definitely myself, I want to represent myself as Phoenix. So people get it, they understand it. But my family's like, I'm gonna still call you this one. I'm gonna call you that because my middle name is Victoria. So growing up, I was known as Vicky. So people still call me Vicky, and I cringe because I'm like, I'm not 5 anymore. But you know, I allow them to call me Dillis if that's what they want to do. That's fine because they're not comfortable with it yet, and I understand. But for everyone else, I'm known as Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such an extraordinarily powerful name, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
it really, really fits you. So you actually say, and I'm quoting now, your gift is to spread love, compassion, and inspiration with humility by sharing my life experiences through my affirmation book.
Yeah.
So what was it like writing the book, Phoenix? Fabulous.
It was a very powerful experience because I started writing a book that I wasn't realizing I was about to write a book in 2014. I was going through different challenges in my life where I realized that I was gay, and I was in a marriage with a wonderful man. And before that, I had a near-death experience, and that kind of shifted something in me spiritually. And so I decided that I had to leave my marriage and love him enough to let him go for him to find happiness with somebody else because I knew that wasn't me anymore. And so when I would be struggling with myself, I would write affirmations for myself to help myself do my healing process and transmute the negative energy to positive energy for me because my heart was breaking in a way because I was about to end a relationship. And so I would take those affirmations and I would post it on Facebook because I felt like if I'm feeling this way, I wonder how other people are feeling. Because to me, I always keep in my mind that there's so many other people suffering in silence. They're not talking about what's going on with them. So if they would see a word or a sentence or a phrase in affirmation, it would help them in some way. And so one affirmation ended up being over 187 affirmations. So something in me in 2017 was like, send your affirmations to yourself. So I copied and pasted all of them from Facebook onto a document. And then I just Gmailed it to myself and I forgot about it. Fast forward to 2019, I was cleaning up my Gmail and I found affirmation book. And I'm like, what is that? So when I opened it, it was 86 pages of affirmations.
Wow. What I know about affirmations is that all of us are affirming stuff all the time, aren't we? But mostly we do it unconsciously. Yeah. So whether we, you know, we're either saying we can do something or we can't do something. So in your opinion, what difference does it make consciously affirming the stuff we want rather than the stuff we don't?
The difference is that when you're affirming the stuff that you want, if you want it bad enough and you can feel it in your heart, your mind, your spirit, then that will come to pass because you're manifested in a powerful way because you're in the feeling. You feel and know that you deserve it. The flip side to that is you're just saying the affirmation, but you're not saying it with no feeling. It's just like, okay, yeah, such and such and such. There's deep doubt within and there's guilt within because you feel like you don't deserve it. Like, you know, you're not enough. So you're sending two different messages out to God, universe, whomever. The first message is, you know, damn, I want this job and I would be great at this job, you know, but damn, like I doubt the fact that I'm going to get it because there's a person that's better than me. So you're confusing the universe and the universe is like, okay, so you're going to stay stuck in your job where you are right now. The other side of it is and this is my reality right now, I want a Dodge Challenger, a purple one. I've seen it. It is so beautiful. And so the other day, me and my wife were out and there was a guy at the gas station. He had a Dodge Challenger. So I came out the car. I'm like, don't think that I'm crazy, but this is my dream car. I want to manifest it. Can I touch the car? And he was like, sure. And I was all excited and I'm touching the car and I'm visualizing myself driving in my Dodge Challenger. That same day, I saw over 10 Dodge Challengers.
Brilliant.
Back to back. So I know I'm going to get it. I don't know when universe knows that I'm ready for it, like ready for it, I'll have it. But at this point right now, every time I talk about it, I'm manifesting it, I get excited about it and I can visualize myself doing it. So that's the difference. I know I'm going to get it. It's already here. It's already parked in my driveway.
Love it. And it is really the feeling that is the most powerful thing, isn't it, that brings that to us. So, you know, I have some sense of affirmations. You know, I sometimes I do them, sometimes I don't. I know that when I do, they work. but also it is about taking action towards that thing as well. It's not about saying, I'm in a beautiful relationship and then, staying in your house and not seeing anyone.
No, it's definitely taking action. The one thing about my affirmations, it's not a cookie cutter affirmations. It's affirmations that really makes you think. Like, for instance, give me a number between 1 and 365. 7. So 7 says, my higher power created me in the most authentic and magical way. I accept all parts of myself without judgment. I treat myself with pure and unconditional love, compassion, kindness, and respect.
So it's not just, I thought I was expecting a line, because often affirmations are just one line. Wow, that's comprehensive. So I know, Phoenix, that you have a podcast, don't you? Have a podcast show?
I do have a podcast, and a podcast is actually aligned with the affirmation book. It's called 365 Affirmations Reader's Review. And the way that I created the podcast is I was thinking, majority of the time people buy books and they never really are able to express to the author how the book impacted their life. They're not able to do that. You can do an Amazon review, which is great, fine. I love Amazon reviews. However, at the same time, I wanted to give my readers a voice. I wanted them to give themselves an opportunity to really come on and be a guest and feel special. So I dedicated a podcast to my readers.
Such a great idea. And then, of course, you relive the book, don't you? And it becomes a more wholesome. And then other people listening can absolutely relate to what that person's saying. That's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Of all the things that you do, what brings you the most joy?
I think for me, what brings me the most joy is when I'm creating my spiritual wellness products, because I'm in my house and I'm half Haitian. So I listen to a lot of Haitian music, and it just lifts me up and it gives me great energy. So when I'm preparing a shower gel or a soap bar or body oil, I'm singing and I'm dancing and I'm calling in spirit guides. And, it's just, you feel the energy and the power from my spirit when I'm transmuting it into the product itself. So every time a client calls and they're like, oh my God, this alleviated my anxiety, or oh my God, this helped me sleep better. So it gives me pure joy to know that, my spirit and my gift within my hands creating products actually brings other people joy. So that brings me joy.
Oh my goodness, I just want to hear you singing. I want to see you dancing. And I want to see, you doing all the things you just said. That sounds amazing. So one final question.
Yes.
When you're no longer on this planet, Phoenix, how would you like to be remembered?
You know what's so funny? I almost died in 2011. And so that I asked myself the same question in 2011. And I want to be remembered as someone who lived life to the fullest, was fearless regardless of her fears, and that I inspired and encouraged other people to do the same, to not wait until something drastic happens for them to live their best life, and not wait until they're on their deathbed to have shoulda, coulda, woulda, to live your life in the most powerful and creative and beautiful way as possible. Even if fear comes up or anxiety comes up, just jump and do it anyway.
You are such an inspiration. I'm going to be posting all of your links beneath this video, but please, anyone watching, please click on the links, find out more about Phoenix and get in touch with her, because you've got so much more that you do that actually we haven't had a chance to cover. Yes. So all there is to me to say is thank you ever so much for giving me your time and sharing with us. So Phoenix Gibbs, thank you.
Thank you.